This podcast contains an English accent that most of our Irish listeners will find offensive. Also, there may be some colourful language that you're going to find less offensive. Now, over to Ryan and Leon. Enjoy the podcast.
And it makes me think, when I started this, I had no idea that I'm young, I'm 54, that I'd have any sense of being swallowed into the earth myself. But at some point in the filming, I hear I have cancer. So we're all slowly going to end up faoi na leachan na seo under these gravestones. And it's interesting, me in the last year looking around at the old realms, the ancient lost realms of our culture that have died or are slowly dying. And as I'm doing that, me personally becoming awareness, oh yeah, that's me too. Maybe that's why I'm so interested in these things, because I'm slowly fading away, just as the Irish culture is. Telling people things are dying now, but we can bring them back. We can bring back the language, we can bring back the old lore, we can find a way of living with this. Meanwhile, my oncologist is saying, we can't bring you back, Manchán. Your cancer is currently incurable. You're on a one-way ticket, while I'm telling everyone else, no. Like, let's bring all these things back. Let's celebrate. We can save everything. And the doctor's saying, yeah, but you can't be saved. It's a beautiful irony.
That was the voice of the late, great Manchán Magan.
It was taken from the two-part series that he did for RTE that was released in July this year. Sobering. Special fella. No, yeah. I knew he was a special fella anyway, with his books and his research work and his appearances. I've seen him on Tommy Tin and I listened to the Blind Boy interview a couple of years ago, so I knew a bit about him, but yeah.
He's Blind Boy had a great well, not a quote, but he said something beautiful. He says it's actually very sad. He says the wealth of knowledge that has gone with him of the Irish culture, of the Irish language, that he spent years collecting, is now gone. And it's like we've lost a wealth of information alongside a great human being. So I saw the interview that he did with Brendan O'Connor on Radio 1 about him talking about going to die. And he said, like, they said I've about a year to 6 months, and he was gone within about 3 weeks. And he was saying that he was like, his biggest worry is, well, not only leaving his partner behind, but to not finish the book that he's been writing, because he's written a few books and he says this one's very important. So I hope, probably selfishly, that he's finished the book, that they can read it, or that they can somehow finish it, you know, as his legacy, his final kind of piece, in addition to the world. Because
we've brought a book into the studio from him, and it's called 99 Words for Rain. And he'd published a book, I think, a couple of years before.
32 Words for Field.
Okay. A man who passionate about Irish culture, and like someone who maybe not forgotten in the recent return of favour for everything to do with the Irish way of life and the Irish culture, the creative successes of the creators of the country. But just as important as anybody else, really, for the creativity that he put out there.
Yeah, look, he had his finger on the pulse of the Irish psyche and what we need as a nation to kind of reclaim our culture, because for so long it was stamped out, and he goes into it. So there's the field book, but obviously it's kind of like words that he's collected throughout the years of, like, obviously the landscape is very important to Irish culture and very important to the language, because we're an agricultural society. So we relied on the land, and that's why there's so many words that we'd have in our language that we wouldn't have in English. But he talks in Listen to the Land Speak, which is his second large book that he's put out, and it was all about kind of how Irish people, it was made to look like you were inferior if you were proud of your Irish history, through music, dance, through the language itself, through so many, like, you know, all the music. There's so many things that we were basically like people that, you know, during the famine, if you were speaking Irish, you were considered like common from the cult, you know, from Connemara or something, and you weren't like a dignified, educated person because you're just only speaking Irish. You're not speaking this. And like he talks about intergenerational trauma, of how like we're still recovering from the famine, even though it happened in 1845, 1846, 1847, 1848, and it was 86 to 88, I think it was. But he talks about how like we're slowly reclaiming that now through modern like pop culture now is starting to pay attention to the Irish language. House of Guinness was the first series on Netflix that you can watch in Irish subtitles.
I did not know that.
From start to finish.
I did not know that.
Yeah, it's the first time Netflix has ever put on that you can watch. That isn't an Irish movie.
Yeah.
You can now watch it through Irish subtitles if you want to.
Fucking hell, that's great.
Do you know?
Well, we're going to share a couple of pages from the book that I brought, and also Leon's got a nice tribute to Manchán in the form of a poem. But I think this is something that Manchán would actually really enjoy. So last week we're having a load of crack about sayings and Irish sayings and on the pig's back and all that. And we got an email from a listener with even fucking more of them. So I'll send that to you when you get it out there, pal, and give us a read. What?
Well, I'm trying to have a look through this now. Where does it start? Well, I'll read out the actual full. Yeah, read full. So this is from Theresa McCormack. It says, "Hi guys, I hope you're both well. I was listening to the latest episode of the Poetry Day podcast, and I was listening to you talk about the charm of the Irish people when it comes to conversation and the saying of nans." There's a poem in there somewhere. She has in brackets.
Yeah.
And it got me thinking about me 96-year-old nan who has since passed. If there was a town called Sayings, she would have been the mayor of said town. I think Irish nannies are the gatekeepers of sayings. My nan had some of the best, and I'd say I'd share them, and I said I'd share them with both of you. What's bred in the marrow comes out in the bone. What's in your ma and da is in you. You shits in your nest.
You shits in your nest.
You shits in your nest. You make a show of yourself. You shat in your nest, basically.
Shit in your nest, yeah.
He'd mind mice at the crossroads, as in he's mean. They'd steal your eyes and come back for your lashes because they're greedy feckers.
He'd steal your eyes and come back for your lashes. Yeah, great.
Bad cider to you is a sort of Irish nan's hex on someone who has done them or theirs wrong. Bad cider.
Bad cider to you? A plague on all your houses?
Bad cider.
Bad cider?
Yeah.
Bad cider.
They live in your ear and rent the other one out for out for flats, as in they're cute hewers and are very resourceful. They'd fly in the face of God. They have no respect whatsoever.
All right.
What man appoints, God disappoints. Never plan too far ahead because you never know what might happen.
Oh, okay.
I'll give them their pedigree, as in I'll tell them who they really are and put them back in their box.
Oh, yeah. Tell them what for.
When God made time, he made plenty of it. Don't be rushing.
Very nice, like that one.
They think they're someone, as in they have mad notions. And to anyone who is not Irish, the idea of having notions is one of the worst things that can possibly... If that person has notions, they're fucked. Throw them in the bin and don't talk to them. So that's just what I say. Shitting on your own doorstep and you make a holy show of yourself in front of people you know.
Yeah.
God spoke first, as you really don't know what's going to happen because you can't outsmart God. And he'd rather an awkward morning than a lonely night. As in he sleeps around. Yeah.
That's a good one.
She goes, I hope you enjoyed. Keep up the great work, lads. I thoroughly enjoy the poetry chats of a Monday. Kind regards, Theresa.
Aren't you a blessing, Theresa? Thanks for sending them on to you.
Oh my God. If anyone has any more nans,
send them in.
We will just keep reading them out because they're fucking brilliant.
Sorry, nannies is the theme today because we're going to share a poem about someone else's nanny, Granny, later on. But first, good news on the budget this week. not many good things came out of the budget, but one of them was the kind of the basic work allowance scheme for artists that got confirmed to be extended permanently for another 2,000 applicants of creatives around Ireland who, let's be honest, need the assistance, because the choice of being a creative here, man, is like essentially a voluntary choice of poverty until you're not. It's not an easy gig. So what we've done, we've asked the community to send us on their experiences of applying for the grant scheme, and actually we hear from someone who's actually been on this scheme since it got launched. So here are the voices of some of the creatives who are going to apply. Enjoy.
My name is Niamh O'Connell and I'm a writer. I predominantly write poetry, but I also work in long form prose. I write essay and I'm currently working on a novel. I think the basic income for the arts is really important for creatives in Ireland because it's a recognition of the process into creating an artwork. The artwork is a final product after a very long process, and creating this basic income accessible to artists in all different forms is recognising the process, that the process needs some time and it needs some room to breathe for quality work to come out of it. Ireland on the world stage is kind of recognised for being artistic. Like, we're known for our music, we're known for our writers, and like we produce like really strong art. We have a really strong culture of art, and for such a small island, we produce really high quality stuff. So I think this basic income is a recognition of the process. It's a recognition of our kind of global identity, and it's a recognition that when you invest into the artists, that it's going to really pay off in the end.
Hi lads, my name is Cormac MacGarald. I am a spoken word poet. So getting the basic income for the arts would be literally life-changing for me. I applied for the pilot scheme back in 2022 and I just about satisfied the criteria to get on the scheme at the time. I think back then about 8,500 people applied for it and there were 2,000 places, so there was a 1 in 4.5 chance that you would get it, which I felt weren't bad odds at all, but I wasn't successful, unfortunately. But now next year there'll be another 2,000 artists accepted on the scheme and it will be made permanent, so we'll go again. The basic income for the arts would just change my life. To have that amount of money secured every week, to be able to say, okay, that's my rent covered, that's some bills, or that's just a certain amount boxed off to have to survive. As an artist, so much of my time is spent just trying to make ends meet. So it's working and working to just about break even every month. So much time is spent surviving, especially during this current cost of living crisis with food and bills and rent all so high. It really feels like you're swimming against the tide as an artist and just trying to keep your head above water. Over the years, I've had to work so many different odd jobs to make money for living, to make money for holidays, for Christmas and things like that. Never mind money to save or even think about the future. And then when you're doing this, your art suffers as a result. So all the time spent running just to stand still is time where I'm not developing my craft in a way that I want. And it's hard to tally up all the unpaid hours that are needed to do this, all the hours that are spent working, because there's no direct monetary value to these hours, but without all the writing, the reading, the drafting, the practice, the thinking, listening, rehearsals again and again, all these essentially unwaged acts or unpaid labour, I just wouldn't be where I am as an artist, and I feel I have so much further to go. This is the work that I'm doing, and I think that if as a society we value art and the contribution it makes to our society, then a basic income is a really great way to support art and to get behind it. It would be great to move towards a universal basic income so that there'll be just a threshold for everybody. But yeah, I'll be applying for the BIA again next year, and then if I don't get it, hopefully the year after that, and we'll be hoping for the best. Sinead Garmagov.
Hello, my name is Martina Collender. I'm a published award-winning playwright, poet and writer living and working in Waterford City and County with my beloved Ellie. And just into response that the basic income from the arts is going to be extended, I think it's absolutely fantastic news. The arts are so vital to us all living a healthy life. Whether you pick up a book or turn on the telly or go see a play, it's vital for us, and I think it's fantastic that the government are recognising that and giving the opportunity to artists to continue to work in Ireland.
I am Wayne Power and I am a spoken word poet and playwright from Waterford. I have been on the Basic Arts scheme for about 3 years. So initially I was rejected in 2022 before being given a second chance because a couple of people had pulled out. So previous to that, I was in a typical 9 to 5 call center job, and you know, when you leave work at 5 or 6 o'clock, the last thing you want to do is, you know, sit on a laptop or a PC. So I found that when I left the job, I had a lot more time to actually sit down and write. So when I left the job, I was able to go head first into my first play, which was something I'd been wanting to do for a long time. So I immediately started work on the scripts. It was workshopped and then premiered last winter before going on to the Theatre Royal this past summer. So in that respect, I don't know if I would have had the time to actually sit down and write a play in between, you know, juggling jobs and here and there and hustling for different gigs. As well as that, I've also been able to take on different opportunities, such as being the new curator for Poetry Day in Waterford, and also been able to do headline gigs in Waterford as well, which gave me a chance to just actually sit down, rehearse, and, you know, kind of hone my craft to a different level. You know, if you're expecting people to pay into one of your gigs, you have to be able to perform to a certain quality. So I was pretty much able to do all that. And going into 2026, I am starting. I'm working on a short story collection and another poetry collection. So again, a lot of that stuff, like artistic endeavors, like it may not have happened without being having like the free time to actually sit down and work on stuff.
That was Niamh, Martina, Cormac and Wayne talking about the artist grant, which is fundamental. And an antidote, I think, for some of the nonsense I've been seeing online from people that don't work in the creative field and don't quite get the breadline life of someone who's committed to creating something. I think that serves as a really positive kind of collection of real stories of what it's really like to want to create something that will be commercially viable. Do you know what I mean? That's the whole thing. Well, you need to be able to take a chance on yourself, and that provides a bit of a buffer for yourself, that you're not going into the red, you know, that you can kind of work on acquiring, like, because there is the artist exemption as well, but you have to qualify for that. So the artist exemption is your tax exempt up to 50,000 on artistic creation. So if you make a poetry collection or sell paintings or compose music, write plays, you're exempt. But the thing is, you have to qualify for that as well.
Yeah, you
can't just go and be like, I'm an artist. They're going to, we'll show us your volume of work first. So with the artists kind of scheme, you'd be able to, you might have a lot of work collected, a lot of stuff that you've done, but like this is just kind of to help hone it, to take it to the next level for you to get, like, say, you know, Arts Council funding to get, and you know, there's bursaries as well, but you also again have to be at a certain level. So it's, the artist grant is very important, and it's good to see that they made it permanent. It's not just a little tester. We'll do it. We might take it off you. We might keep it. We might take it off you. It's now permanent. So
yeah, and it's a symbol of intent. Do you know what I mean? Of like how important the Irish culture currently is, and how much it relies on the creativity of its people. So yeah, great news, and thanks everyone for sending us the voice. That's really appreciated.
It's brilliant, and it's like people like, say during, not to go back to during the COVID times, because we don't want to talk about COVID, but how important was the arts during COVID? People spent all their time watching Netflix, which is the arts, watching plays, which is the arts, listening to music. So it's like people didn't realise, how important it actually is.
Well, people don't realise in general,
because it's always there.
It's always there.
You take the arts away, there'd be a big fucking difference in society.
Very fucking quiet.
It'd be very boring, monotonous, whereas art is all around us, and it's important to keep those artists paid and that they can generate more art. And if someone's leaving school and thinking, right, okay, I've an absolute passion for some artistic creation, but I also want to be able to, afford to live. A lot of people when they're young wouldn't pursue art because of that, because they're like, well, there's a cost of living crisis in Ireland at the moment, and it's like, how do I be able to afford that? And then here's something that they are offering, that if you do pursue art, there is a bit of there's a modest fee, we'll say. It's not an absolute huge amount, but it's still something to survive on,
Well, it's not that much. Do you know what I mean? It's 320 quid a week. Like, that's not that's not going to get you into cocktail parties. Do you know what I mean? No one's going to be splashing the getting the champers out on that.
It's like the Dole Plus.
It's a Dole Plus.
It's a Dole Plus.
Fuck's sake.
You're creating things, and it can lead to other pathways beyond. That shouldn't be the be all end all as getting the artist grant. It's a step towards the next thing. And
also, we all know that unless you create something with the power of youth, with the power of being at university or being at college and being surrounded by people, if you don't do it then, when you do it, when you're made redundant. When you're made redundant as a worker. The Ricky Gervais story, the Sean Locke story, the people that get a cash lump sum from losing a job and go, maybe now's my chance. Or take it a year on the dole and goes, maybe I need to do this give it a year and see how it goes. That shouldn't be the thing that defines what makes a creative person successful.
Well, even like Kevin Bridges, the Scottish comedian, he started when he was 17, and he said to his dad when he was 18, when he was finishing school, give me a year, and if I just need to try do this. And he was lucky and talented enough for it to work out. But that's a comedy, there's money in comedy for, but you have to work really, really hard to be at a certain level to make money in comedy. And he was just able to push through it. But you have to take a chance on yourself.
Got to take a chance.
And this is giving you more chances.
Not even just a chance, it's a commitment to, and I've said it earlier on, it's a commitment to fucking having no money, which isn't fun. Fucking eating a fucking grab bag of Doritos every day to keep you going, do you know what I mean? That's not a good way of living, but you have to do it.
But also as well, there's so many artists I've had a conversation with that's a sense of validation for them. It's not even the money. The money obviously will help you. Obviously eating is nice and living is nice. But for a lot of artists, the thing that keeps them going is a belief in themselves. It's a validation of their craft. And if they have something like that where the government is going, we believe in you, you're worth something.
Good point, man.
That could be huge for how many people that are just starting out that need that little push to keep going. Because keep going. Once you stop, you've stopped. It's never going to happen. You need to keep going. And no matter how long it takes you and how twisty the roads are, you'll still get there in the end if you keep going.
Fucking hell.
That's my
Thank you very much for that.
I'm going to go do a few push-ups now.
Thanks for that, pal. We're 20 minutes in here. We've not shared a poem. That is poor form for a
We've been talking
podcast.
about fucking art. All right, it's important.
Let me give you a poem, right?
Give us a fucking poem, will you?
This is, and just going back to what we were saying earlier on about nannies and grannies, I'm going to give you this one. This is a poem from Tanaaz Kotawalla, and it's called Mangoes and Grannies.
Ooh.
It's 2024. Summer is here, and I cut into my first mango of the year. With each slice, through the amber fruit, a familiar scent fills the air, and with it, a memory spills through. I'm 5, sweet orange fruit on my chin, listening to Granny spin her own fairy tale, custom made, just for me. Her stories were living, breathing beasts, woven from strands of her memory. I'm 9, grabbing a mango from the fridge, and watch Granny make my favourite dish. With a sigh, I declare, I hate boys. She smiles at me knowingly and says, I'll remind you of this in 5 years. I'm 14. The sun is fitting through the porch screen. The garden is buzzing with life unseen, and I'm eyeing up another mango. I tell Granny about a boy I fancy. Her eyes crinkle and she chuckles. I told you so. I'm 18. A cuckoo calls from the hibiscus grove. Milky coffee is bubbling on the stove, and I've just lost 5 card games in a row. I'm plotting my revenge while Granny hums, slicing up the last mango. I'm 29, smiling at Granny in her chair as I took a blanket around her chin. Her skin has grown translucent, her light dim, and she tells me about her only granddaughter. And I want to say, Granny, that's me. Instead, I hold her hand and listen, grateful to be in her last memories. I'm 30. My last glimpse of you, Granny, was through a WhatsApp video call. Your body was wrapped in white. You looked so small. And as Grandpa's fervent prayers carry you to the next world, may your journey be a path of sunshine, spices and pearls, bordered by hibiscus and daffodils, on grass with crystal drops of dew. May you dance yourself into a meadow, with bird song and a tuned piano, and everyone you ever knew, and at the end, may you find a bushel of mangoes waiting just for you.
That was Tanaaz Kotawala with Mangoes and Granny, and we're both fucking shook.
Shivers down my spine at the last few lines there.
Yeah, you can picture every single thing in that poem. I love how it's mangoes kind of, it just hooks you in. I love them. It's always like, nice sweet little start, like a mango, and then all of a sudden you're getting smacked around by some heavy. It's brilliant. Yeah. Absolutely brilliant.
And it's always the granny that is the cheeky confidant of the grandson or daughter's dating life, isn't it? Like it's never the granddad. It's always the granny is going, oh yeah, when are you going to settle down? Oh yeah, let's see. Yeah, it's always the granny, isn't it?
They've reared how many kids, and you're not only the first batch, you're the fucking second batch at that stage.
Yeah.
So the kids that they reared went through the same things, and now every child thinks that they're original and different, but we're all exactly the same. And I think grandparents have realised that at that stage. So I'll remind you in 5 years what you think about boys.
Yeah. And it's that flip as well of like the granny advising you, but then eventually you'll be there to mother your own grandma. That's how it kind of works. I said goodbye to my granny, my nan. I call her my nan. In the hospital. I've never been to hospital. I think I told you this anyway. I shared it on the podcast last year, I think.
Yeah.
And it was one of them where I was sitting at the bottom of the bed. I was like grabbing her feet and touching her, like, you'll be okay. And at the end of it, she was just like so frustrated. She was like, oh, please just leave, in like a muted tone. She couldn't really speak at that time. Yeah. She was close to going. So, but it was like, okay, yeah, no, you'll be fine. But you don't say goodbye. Like a little bit like what she was saying there. You don't tell her like I'm her. You kind of have to find it in yourself to go, yeah, no, fair enough. I think I even said to her like, oh yeah, I'll chat to you later. That's what I said. That was my last words to my nan. He was like, oh, no worries, I'll be outside. And that was it. That was the last words I said. Because it's not nice. It's not fucking nice to say a final word. I don't think. You got to think about who you're talking to. I wouldn't personally like to hear a final word. I don't know about you. Do you know what I mean? It's
You're fucked now. Sorry, I had to cut the tension.
I know, sorry. Serious podcast there. But you know what I'm saying? You don't want to feel like it's the end.
You don't want to feel like the end. Yeah, exactly. Like, well, even my grandmother, so it's now the 8th. 2 days ago was the 16th anniversary of losing my granny. My granny saw me come into this world and I saw her leave this world. And like, that's the kind of trade-off. Don't know why she'd want to see me come into the world. Apparently I was a forceps baby. They'd stick the fucking calipers and pull us out. I didn't want to leave. But like, we didn't use the calipers on her. She was grand. She was a lady. She was peaceful. But like, that's the circle of life. And we spoke about grief last week, and it's like you never, when you're you never feel like you're going to be normal, and then you do, and then you're reminded of them, and then you feel bad that you've lived your life normally, but that's the way they want you to. They want you to be normal. They don't want you to be miserable. Like my grandmother, when my grandfather passed away, my mum was like obviously upset because her dad had died, and he was like, "You're not crying for him, you're crying for you, because he's already gone."
Fucking hell.
And I was like,
yeah, not wrong.
But she's right. Like, and
yeah, totally.
Even now, if my grandmother saw me being miserable about not having her here, she'd probably give me a slap. You know, say something holy, because she's a good staunch Catholic. She was, but you know, she probably.
Fuck's sake.
But
great poem.
Yeah, fabulous poem. Fabulous
Thanks,
poem.
Tanaaz. I've brought with me the 99 words for rain and one for sun.
Green
is
Green chatting. He's literally, his name is the sun.
Oh, it's green means sun.
Chatting, they'd call him.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, green.
I'm going to put you on the spot a bit here. So I was reading this last night. It's 99 Irish words for rain. Like, obviously, he doesn't need to say that, but that's what this is. And it's beautiful illustrations as well in it, and it's kind of taking you through the importance of weather and landscape and the ground and the air of our forefathers, like people before us, spiritual people who would have dictated everything on the way the world's weather would have hit the land. So I think the coolest thing to do here, I'll put you on the spot a little bit. You get your Gaelic tongue going.
You're not going to fucking test me on me.
I'm just going to get you to flip through and maybe pick out maybe 5 words and the description of what those words are. I think this is going to be very enjoyable. Just flick through it there and pick pages at random.
Pick random now.
Pick random pages, yeah. So these are different words for rain.
Spootrock, which means splashing rain, downpour, rain-soaked ground, slush.
Say that again.
Spootrock.
Spootrock.
Spootrock. What else? Let me try here. Scríab Báistí.
Báistí is raining.
Scríab Báistí. Egco Báistí would be raining.
Okay,
so Egco Báistí, it is raining. Scríab Báistí means sudden, violent rain shower. Scríab means the stress of a coming storm.
The stress. Wow.
Fluck Bháisteach. Fluck would be Irish for like wet. So like wet Bháisteach. It's the thing is drizzle. But you'd expect like fluck would be it's wet and Bháisteach, you think it'd be like wet rain. Like it's basically wet. There's other ones. There's mist. There's a mist.
Give us
section.
A mist one, yeah.
Quishna. A frost mist. A fog in frosty weather.
It sounds like that. Quishna.
Oh, look at this. Cove Sean Lesh on Gyo, as old as the mist.
Say that again.
So I could say Tá Cove Sean Lesh on Gyo, which would be he's as old as the mist, or it is as old as the mist. Cove Sean Lesh on Gyo, yeah. Cove Leah Lesh on Gyo means as grey as the mist. Leah mean grey. What else? Oh, there's one for sun.
What's the one for sun?
On green.
On green.
The sun. Sun words. Galanoch, which means gleaming or flashing. Ritnoch, which means gleaming, radiant, sparkly, from the verb ritnig, to make radiant, to brighten, to illuminate. Sorka, which is bright.
Sorka,
which is also a name.
Yeah, Sorsha, name.
Well, Saoirse would be freedom.
Okay.
But Sorka, bright. Fána Gal on Lay, which means sunrise, literally bright ring of the day.
Fána
Gal on Lay. Lay is the day on Lay.
And these were, like you said earlier about the Fields book, these are just words that he collected through conversations with people who spoke the language.
Well, yeah, because like Irish
not written down. Like.
Irish is a peculiar language. It's orally passed. So many people were illiterate for thousands of years, so it was mostly just passed. But even there's different dialects within Irish. So there's Ulster dialect, there's Connemara or Connacht dialect, then there'll be like Munster dialect, which could be like Kerry, and you have like, I think there's one near Waterford. There's also a mini one in Meath, so there's kind of, but then there's like I hope any Gaelgars are not screaming at their fucking Spotify now, but basically they have like a standardised Irish, and that's what Leinster kind of, because we don't have a natural Gaeltacht anymore really. There are, as I said, there's one in Meath, like micro parts, but there's like a standardised Irish which they wanted to teach because it's kind of a universal one, but there's like different pronunciations of different words like drastically around the island.
Oh wow, fucking hell.
So like mwy, it's like I think outside is mwy, or I say like inye would be yesterday. Inye would be yesterday, inye, and then inyo. The same word is pronounced differently. Inye, no, inye, and inye, I think it is. So it's like different words pronounced different. They almost sound different words. Like, but yeah, Manchán Magan, he's a very interesting person, you know. But he's just there's so many things that have been passed down orally that, like, even I remember having a conversation with a young man in a school, and he was part of the travelling community.
Right.
And he was in third year, so he'd be about 15. And I was like, "What are you doing?" And he's like, "I'm just writing down a story." And I was like, "Is it an original?" And he's like, "No." He's like, "It's been passed down from travelling families for years. It's never been written down." And I was like, "You need to do me a favour. You need to keep writing these stories," because the teacher had told me his because a lot of travellers, their fathers take them out to work when they're 15. You're just taken out of school.
Yeah.
And he was a very bright young man, and he probably would have done very, very well had he achieved, like, you know, gone to academics. But if he didn't write that down and his community disappeared or integrated into, you know, regular society, the culture goes with them. Those stories die with them.
Yeah, for sure.
And they have their own language as well. They have cant as well. Like, they have different. So there's like different indigenous cultures all around them. If you just don't let them be or grow, they disappear. And they're gone.
That's the importance of Monken's work. Do you know what I mean? Like, having those conversations going around the country and the world, in fact, like learning indigenous stories and the rituals of people that are still holding on to spirituality as a means to motivate them. So it's very, very important work, man.
I'm going to find out there's a very interesting. So what was I remember? Actually, do you know Khabib Nurmagomedov? The fighter.
Khabib Nurmagomedov.
Nurmagomedov. He said something on the interweb that I saw, that one of the reasons why Irish people are so staunch for Palestine and for Gaza is because during the famine, they collected money and sent it over. Palestinians sent money to us during a famine, and now they're suffering a famine. You know, it's mad just to think. And then there was an there was a Native American nation that gave money to the famine, to the Irish famine. So I'm googling this now as I try to. Yeah, the Choctaw and the Scullyville donated $170, and the Choctaw of Dokesville donated $150 American dollars back then in 1846 to the starving people in Ireland from the famine.
Fucking hell.
Do you know what I mean? Because they're an indigenous culture as well, like, and they were obviously ridiculed and, you know, and chastised. So, but I wrote a poem. So I listened to the land speak, and it's, if anyone. Like, he has great books like that, 99 words for rain and 1 for sun, 32 words for field. They're great little kind of like light reading, curious. Oh, there's a word. Oh, that's a good word, you know.
Yeah.
But Listen to the Land Speak is like a book about Irish culture and the Irish psyche, and it's fucking incredible. Anyone, if you're to read any book from Manchán Magan, read Listen to the Land Speak. It's just,
that's on the list. So
it looks like that. That's what it's a black and white.
Great,
but a journey into the wisdom of what lies beneath us. And he goes around the landscapes, but he was talking a lot about famine roads. Did you ever hear famine roads?
No, I don't know what they are, man.
So famine roads were, when the famine was on, people would go to the workhouses to get food, and the workhouses in turn would put you to work. But it was just basically to keep people busy. And they'd have them dig these and make these roads that weren't going anywhere. They led to nowhere. And they're all across Connemara where the workhouses were, where they'd put people to build these roads that had no purpose, just to keep them busy, just to keep them working and to feed them in the workhouses. So I wrote a poem, and after reading that book, I was just very much, you know, Mancán's fantastic. And I wrote this poem called Scars on the Landscape. There are scars in this land that run deeper than ditches, like rough winding roads cutting through boglands and thickets. a great fog of past hunger, carrying discarded memories of a time of great trauma when our bountiful land abandoned us all. The earth that sustained became stained with a poison, as mouths of the many grew hungry, while pockets of the few became hefty from greed. And now our country moves forward in the pursuit of new riches. But there are scars in this land that run deeper than ditches.
That was Scars on the Landscape by Leon Dunn. Yeah, fucking hell, powerful piece, man. Jesus Christ.
Yeah,
there's a lot of recent fucking blood in the roads here that we tend to, I don't think forget, but maybe don't think about too much, because like I think Ireland in general is pulled between like the Manchán story of ritual and storytelling and kind of spirituality, and this, I don't know how good it is, but this like kind of Americanized, almost like English way of like commercialization and companies and like globalization and gentrification. Sort of this, it's in the middle of these two worlds for a country that's only like 100 odd years old, as it's currently like in its current current independence is very young. Yeah, even though you know the indigenous people of Ireland have been there since the dawn of time. You know, the way the country has been, its independence is new in comparison. So it's just strange that you've got this recent history which has so much pain and trauma, even like, you know, from the famine to the rising to the fucking
civil
war to the baby cemeteries. Like there's a lot here.
There's a lot of skeletons,
isn't there? Isn't there? Yeah. But then on the flip side, it's like there's a I don't know where this came from. It's like maybe the whole of the Western world jumped quickly into a need of, I don't know, like making as much money as possible, and owning 3 cars and fucking having gaffs with 7 bathrooms. You know what I mean? Like there's that world as well. And I think that's why I like Mancán's work so much. It kind of pulls you back into the listen to the trees kind of way of seeing humanity.
Don't be hurling yourself out to make money and selling off your land that you used to hold sacred. It's like, we've finally gotten the land back. Why would you be selling it off?
There's something in that. There's an interview that I think it's a Tommy Tiernan interview that he did with President Michael D. Higgins, and they talk about that. They talk about like what Ireland means, and like where the book should stop with trying to be like the empire, like pretending to be American and like all of this kind
imperialism,
and forgetting the roots and what makes this place special and the people so spiritual. So it's an interesting dichotomy, I think, Irish culture and Irish kind of like identity.
But it's like even things that are going on. This whole Ireland is full nonsense, and you say like
nonsense is the
how many
the
of them are fluent in Irish? How many of them know their actual history? Because if you knew your history and you knew your culture well enough, you'd understand that people deserve to come here because we've gone everywhere else. Because we were pushed out. We had to go everywhere else. People that'll say Ireland's full, yet how many nephews and nieces have they got in Australia or America or England? And it's like, it was not like, I'm sure everyone in the 80s fucked off to England because that was a proper recession. It was even worse than the recession we had in 2008, where there was literally no work. So imagine like, and people that were there, a lot of people, this is the maddest thing, a lot of the people that went over to England to work could be, some of them were in the protests saying Ireland's full, and they were persecuted when they got to England because they were coming over taking English jobs, and people are like, England's full, yous are coming over here stealing our jobs. Now they're going back, they're in the same fucking generation, and now they're marching saying their country's full. How does that make sense? Like, what is wrong with you?
Fuck's sake.
Do you know what I mean? It's just fucking, I don't know, man. Write a few poems, get the right to shut up and stop saying your fucking poems. Your bleeding country's full. It's not.
It's not.
There's famine roads that lead to nowhere. There's fucking loads of them. There's loads of them. Place in the
You just can't live in Dublin. That's the thing.
Do you know what I
Dublin might be full. I don't know,
Dublin
but
could be full.
Dublin might be full.
You might have said that, you know, Dublin, fucking certain postcodes in Dublin could be slightly full.
Yeah.
But you know, there's a big country full of there. You know, we could all have a room. We could all move to.
For a small country, there's a lot of space.
Fuck off to Laois. Fuck off to Laois if you think your country's full. There's nothing there. Fuck off to Laois. That's how we should be responding. Fuck
Get
off
to Laois and leave us alone.
Free bus. We could set up plantations in Laois for all these fucking Egypts, and they could sit out there in the middle of nowhere
and go, no, it isn't full actually.
Actually, no, Laois isn't full because they're sort of Stradbelly and that's where Electric is. No, we put them up in fucking Leitrim or something. Or Roscommon. Sorry for anyone from Leitrim or Roscommon if we're going to send a lot of fire wires up there. But like, do you know what I mean? It's just ridiculous.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. Let me share this one with you. I was in the pub having a little chinwag with Aunt Tanaaz.
Oh yeah.
A couple of weeks ago, basically just for a bit of advice and a bit of guidance, and that's the thing. Just going back to the creative stuff at the start of the show when we were talking about, like, you know, the motivations of people. Like, in the creative world, you're not really given mentors. Like in most jobs, you'd have a manager, you'd have someone that you can look up to. I think the problem with the creative world now, I think we spoke about this with Simon Jones at EP. Everyone's starting a movement. To be successful, you have to start a movement. Do you know what I mean? You have to like create like a
community,
a guerrilla bloody like a community from scratch.
Yeah,
you almost have to do it punk, and but that's everything. It's plays, it's literature, it's short stories, it's music. You don't have many mentors. So anyway, I begged her to meet me for a drink, and she did. And she got me to read out this poem, and I think I was being quite hard on myself as I was talking to her. I was like, yeah, I come up with this idea and I don't do it, and I go like, oh fuck, it was shite anyway, and like the whole messaging of that drink for the first 20 minutes was probably me just going like, I don't know what I'm doing, and the whole process of me finding out what to do is wrecking me head. And she kind of flipped it on me and like, take a step back and be positive about the things that you and everybody else is trying to do, because at some point you're going to look back and you need to do it in a wonderful way. So I want to share this poem with you, right? And it's called Love After Love.
Oh, lovely.
By the poet Derek Walcott, which I hadn't heard before, and she actually got me to read this out in the pub, so I really appreciate that. This is Love After Love by Derek Walcott. The time will come when, with elation, you will greet yourself arriving at your own door, in your own mirror, and each will smile at the other's welcome and say, sit here, eat. You will love again the stranger who was yourself. Give wine, give bread, give back your heart to itself, to the stranger who has loved you all your life, whom you ignored for another, who knows you by heart. Take down the love letters from the bookshelf, the photographs, the desperate notes. Peel your own image from the mirror. Sit. Feast on your life.
That was Derek Walcott with Love After Love. That was lovely.
Lovely.
That was lovely. Feast on your life.
Feast on your life. Sit
and
have a drink.
Have a drink.
You fucking sound it to yourself, man.
Yeah. Stop being so bleeding harsh on yourself.
Jesus. Give yourself a neck massage and just relax.
Relax. Well, I tell you, someone who is nice to themselves, someone who is nice to themselves, practicing that self-love, the Agony Aunt.
The Agony Aunt. Well, she had a great time last week, so I'm glad she's back.
She's got her act together a bit more now. She's got her act together a bit more. She was over shucking oysters.
Yeah.
She was shucking oysters by the seaside. That's where they found her. With her bare hands. She had a big bottle of Tabasco sauce, a fresh lime.
She's selling them.
She fresh lemon.
Munching on them.
I think she was doing a bit of both, really, to be honest. She was eating them, but she was selling them at the same time. So I don't know how that works. You're eating your own profits.
One for me, one for you.
Well, she said she was feasting on her own poems. Do you know? She was feasting on her own oysters there and then sharing them out, because you have to kind of, reap what you sow.
You have to eat the profits as well, maybe.
Sometimes you just have to eat the profits. Do you have the prompt there?
I think I do. I think you do, yeah. I think
you do.
The Agony Aunt problem for this week is, I want a man to have fun with. The needs are real.
I'll tell you what.
Right.
Luckily she was shucking oysters, because they're a natural aphrodisiac as well. Do you know what I mean?
I've heard that.
They are, yeah. Well, this will give you a bit of goo for the galley there, and you'll be up in there. You know, you'll be good. I asked her mid shook she was cracking an oyster with her fucking bare teeth. She was, and I asked her for the poem. She went, "Hang on, let me just put down my oysters and me Tabasco sauce." And she scribbled this out on the sand.
Lovely.
She scribbled it on the sand with a big stick, and it's called A Man.
A man.
It's just simply called A Man. And I had to write this down really quickly after because the tide was coming in, and I didn't want to lose the poem because once it's gone, it disappears. So this is A Man. I have an itch that needs scratching, needs that keep tapping on in my brain. It's hard to explain, but then again, it isn't. It's a requirement that's fundamental, that's causing me to turn slightly mental, and it's becoming more relentless by the day. See, I need a man, not some joke of a bloke, but a real man, broad in the chest, has the arms for a vest, with big turf pulling hands. Someone to carry me away, someone who'll stay and rattle me bones when he can.
That was the Agony Aunt with A Man.
It's a very
I think she needs to put them little oysters down and get to swiping now.
She was eating too many oysters. That was the problem. She nearly foamed at the mouth.
Sounds like she was buzzing to hear that problem. Anyway, she's very excited.
There was no fishermen around them rocks because they'd be pulled in to a cave somewhere, and they'd be stinking of Tabasco sauce. They would.
Well, that's given me a nice laugh. We've gone around everywhere today, haven't we? Oh my god!
Like a famine road. We're all over the place.
Like a famine road.
And we've led to nowhere.
Back to the start.
Back to the start.
We'll end the show with a track from Kieran Lavery, with a track called Ida. Not a sombering show, but definitely an enjoyable one to go into the world of Monken and rest easy, bro. Yeah, Beyond the Veil. I'm sure he's up there. It was a great interview that he did, and he's like, he believes he's like, I'm going to come back. He's like, he said when he was a child, his parents would always find me on the end of the garden talking to the fairies, talking to the spirits, and he goes, I believe there's more to this, and I will come back in a different form. He's like, I could probably come back female. I come back as an African woman and probably talking about indigenous. He's like, I think that I'll have the same purpose but in a different society to help share indigenous culture. And I hope he does come back, and I hope that makes the world a little bit better. Imagine if he comes back as an African woman and then some knobhead says we're full. They're off to fucking Leitrim. They're off to Leitrim. We're getting the Iron Road Iron buses. We're going to fucking find them there, and we're going to free ticket up to Leitrim. There you go. You can get a free tent. Off you go. Stay up in Leitrim for a week, and you'll see that Ireland is not full. There's loads of room. There's loads of room. Leon, thanks for your time. Always a pleasure. Never to chaw. Ryan Bay. Take it away, Kieran. Some debts from my past that I'm stuck with. I carry them round in a bucket. Make me wanna say fuck it. Fuck it all. I have a handful of nephews and nieces. I have a love I'm in love with. I know how rare the real love is. How lucky I am. And I have some lines on my face that are mine now. I guess they really define now. And the markings of time now. It's something like that. So look at me, What do you dream about at night?
I dream of holding you in a world so cruel. Look at me, I'd. What do you feel with both your eyes? I feel nothing new. Feel nothing new. And I have a house and a chair for to rest in, making some room for children, if we're lucky enough for children, though we may not. And I have a sly little chip on my shoulder. I turn some awful thoughts over, keep my words in a folder, saves them having to rot. So look at me, I'd. What do you dream about at night? I dream of holding you in a world so cruel. Look at me, I'd. What do you feel with both your eyes? I feel nothing new. I feel nothing new. Look at me, I'd. What do you dream about at night? I dream of holding you in a world so cruel. Look at me, I'd. What do you feel with both your eyes? I feel nothing new. I feel nothing new. Nothing new. Nothing new. Nothing new. Nothing new. Nothing new. Nothing new.